Never 99, the podcast that takes an untraditional view on health in the world and breaks it down in a way that makes sense. 99% is never enough. Always 100 with your hosts, Dr. O and Olive.
That means I'm driving this sucker?
You're driving this sucker.
Where are we going?
I don't know.
All right, let's get there.
Okay.
All right, how do we start off? We've never done one of these before.
Well, let's start off with
how
we came up with this conversation anyways.
How did we come up with this conversation?
So we tend to have what I guess in my head I call like road talks.
Road talks.
Like we're very good at road talking.
It is funny. We have our best conversations like looking at each other this way. And it's always in her car.
It's always in my car.
And she's always driving.
It's true.
So it's like this is the driver.
I don't even drive that much.
Yeah, so this is the driver's seat. This is me. This is how we get down.
Oh, I guess we kind of just went into like the natural position.
Yeah, so we sat down. She's like, this is my side. Driver's side.
That's not why I sat on this side.
Okay, that's your good side. I get it.
That's my good side. My bangs fall this way.
That's cool. I woke up like this.
Okay, so yeah, we tend to have like really interesting conversations while we're driving, and
that's actually how the idea for this podcast came up, because I was like, we have like these crazy conversations, about all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, man, I think other people would like to sneak in on this.
I mean, not to toot our own horn or anything, but we're kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah, we get after it. But anyways, keep going. Driving conversations.
So we're really good at talking about tough subjects with each other, right?
Yeah.
Mainly because you're an incredibly smart person. What? You are, and you like to pick at things so you can find out the truth of them, and I just like to talk. So
it works out really good.
It works out super, super well with each other.
It is pretty good.
But something that we talk about really, really often is different ways that people raise their kids.
It's true. Or we talked about that a lot, about how we were raised.
Yeah.
And then how we raise Andre.
Obviously, yeah.
So that's how this conversation started.
I mean, I think that
when you came up with you might have read a book or something. I don't remember where you got this idea or like how you labeled it. But you said it, and I was like, word.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way before. I
think I just thought of it, honestly, after us talking about our childhoods.
Oh, so you came up with it on your own?
Kind of. What? I mean, yeah. But I feel like it should be a well-known thing.
Well, what is it? No one knows what we're talking about.
Okay, we're talking about when you're raising your children on intention versus survival.
So go into that a little bit.
The best way that I can explain this is kind of explaining my own childhood, and I think that's how I came up with this subject anyways.
Yeah, let's get at
it. Let's just dive on
Let's get up in there.
Yeah,
let's go in.
Let's open up all the doors.
What made Olive Olive?
Ooh, dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I feel like in my own childhood, I was raised off of survival, and...
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I got you. I'm taking my time. Okay. That's just like my parents woke up every day and they did what they needed for us to be fed and for them to go to work and make money and basically get through the day. Like, how do I get my kids to school today? How, what do we make for lunch or that kind of stuff?
Or how do we even get lunch?
Yeah, right? So like, how do I even get my kid to school today kind of thing? Rather than intention. And that kind of bleeds into how you're raising your kids in general. I feel like I love my mom. She did a heck of a job with me. Obviously, I'm awesome. So I have a great, great, great mother. I just feel like sometimes when she was raising me, I was raised off of pure survival rather than intention. Like, I want my kid to know this. I want them to understand this. I want them to feel this today.
Yeah, meaning there was a purpose to everything that was happening, right? Or maybe you felt like there wasn't a purpose.
Right. I feel like every word that comes out of my mouth with Andre, I like have thought about it for days, and I want him to understand the true meaning behind what I have to give him. And it doesn't matter. We'd be like, what do you want for breakfast? I'm like, today.
Yeah, I've thought about this for 48 hours.
Exactly.
Let me tell you the reason why we're eating these humane eggs right now.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. It's intention rather than survival.
Yeah, it's true. I was raised like kind of in a little same scenario. I was raised in some dirty waters.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, right.
Dirty waters.
I was raised with some dirty water, so it wasn't that fun. And then when my son was super little, I don't know if I think I did tell you this. Maybe that's where this came from. I don't know. I never thought about it. I had a piece of paper that I wrote my intention down with what my objective was with my relationship with my son. Mm-hmm. And I had a mentor that told me that. He's like, anything that you care about, you need to write down what your intention is with that particular thing. Right. And in relationships too, like with the relationship with my son. So I did that and I read it. every day for about 4 years.
Wow.
So I woke up, every day I woke up. Remember when I had that desk in that mud room or whatever? Yeah, it was on the window. Yeah, it was on the window and I had it in my notebooks and stuff. So, but every day I read it so to kind of refocus my mind to what I wanted to accomplish long term with my relationship with my son.
Yeah.
So that way, like when the waters get muddy or things get weird, like you
can return back to it.
Yeah, I can kind of like a North Star. So there's like a rhythm and a rhyme to the things that I try to do. If that makes sense.
Right.
It made it good when things got hard. And it really helped reading it every day. Like every day waking up and reading that, it kind of refocused me on the things that I want to do. And like, I didn't want anything to be, not fully thought out.
Right.
When it comes to raising Andre, I just wanted him to have like the best experience in the world and not have like a dirt neck like I did when I grew up, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it is totally different getting raised with raising someone with like, okay, this is why we do this. This is why we do that, as opposed to I like how you put it, to me, I think about when I was a kid, it feels like it was like a machine gun of shit.
Right.
They got shot at me
all the time.
All the time.
I felt like my family was constantly trying to push themselves through obstacles, and there was nothing to support the children in that. It was just, oh, this is happening to us today, and this is how we're going to react to this today. But I don't feel like my parents ever turned to me and said, hey, we're going through this because of this. Yeah. And so this is how we can handle it.
That's a good way to put it. Like, I guess when you do, or when you're in like survival mode or raising a kid or raising a family or being a family without intention, it is reactive. Like
it is very reactive.
Yeah. So that word you said just kind of got my mind thinking. So it's like you react to this minute, or to this crisis, or to this next thing, or you react to today. And then like you don't worry about how it maybe spills over, interconnects with the next day or the next crisis or something like that.
I feel like we were always trying to catch up on things, like we were always trying to set routines and do certain things, but it was almost as if we were catching up to the moment. And then since we were never prepared for it, it blindsided us, and then it just dropped. So any kind of routine or...
What just dropped?
That's what I'm saying. Like any type of routine, like let's say homework.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? Like there was no intention when it comes to how is my kid going to do in school. Gotcha. Right? It was always catching up. Oh, you got to see this term, and I happened to see it. So now we're going to do this and this, but since it wasn't pre-planned and we're living our life off of survival, there was no intention, so it just fell through anyways. So then you don't learn commitment, you don't learn how to do well in school. It's like pure survival, and I see that in kids everywhere.
Yes. I see. It's kind of like it's just random.
Yeah,
it's
super random.
It's like a life of random stress. Mm-hmm. So how do you think that affected you as a grown-up?
Oof. You want to get into that here?
Well, just hit me with it.
I think you know a lot of the things.
I know a good bit of the things, but like, how do you? Well, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. What do you think? How do you feel like it affected you?
I feel like it affected me because I wasn't very academic. I didn't actually believe that I was even smart until I became an adult.
Which is crazy because I think you're like a savant genius at most things.
Thank you.
Yeah, which is crazy that you felt like growing up as a kid you felt that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I had nobody to support me, and anytime somebody did support me, it was because I was failing. They never supported me because they wanted me to succeed. They supported me because they let me go on my own, and then I failed because I was a child. It's because they were catching up.
So it's kind of like everyone in your life, it seems like it was kind of reacting to your failure as opposed to like noticing and sweetening up your sweet spots.
I didn't have a lot of sweet spots anyway, so I feel like that would have been difficult as well.
Well, I'm sure. Well, if you would have grew up in a different environment, I'm sure you would have noticed because you have a million sweet spots now. I mean, like with your with everything.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that is kind of tough. That is for me. I felt scared. Like when I look back on as a kid, as a childhood, like with all the stuff that happened to me, like I felt scared because I didn't know like who was going to be there, where my mom was going to be. Like we didn't eat a lot of the time, so I was scared and embarrassed, especially when I moved to a little bit nicer school system, and then I really noticed the difference. Oof. Or maybe as I just got older, maybe I don't even think we moved.
I mean, I'm sure it was a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't nicer schools. It was. I think I just got older, and then I just saw the difference in stuff, and I was like, "What?
Yeah. What?" Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I always felt scared, like not having anyone like there, and like it's like, you know, your parents are supposed to be like the way that we've been shaped is like they're supposed to be the people you look up to and model, like your role model, like that's where like it comes from. So it's kind of interesting. Well, it's not interesting. It is interesting to think about, but like looking back on it, like I didn't have a role model. I don't know if I've ever told you this. This might be a new story.
Oh,
fun fact.
New story.
Fun fact. Every time I start a story, she makes a face as if I've told her the story 500 times.
Yes.
I got a lot of stories though.
That's true. And they're good stories. I don't mind hearing them over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you know anything about me, my memory's really bad. So I forgot the story that I was about to tell you.
Oh my goodness.
It was going to be so good.
Okay. All right. We'll come back.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about that you felt scared and that the parents in your life were supposed to be the
role models. Yeah, I had a good story.
That's okay. We'll come back to it. I feel like I didn't ever really feel scared. I mean, maybe on one side, but on my mom's side, who I was with the whole time, I didn't ever really feel scared with her, but I felt that she was scared. I felt that she was scared a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure that kind of got transmitted down.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I feel like that definitely had an impact on me as an adult now, because it's almost like, you know how we talk about when we do certain things, you're setting your body from fight and flight to feed and breed.
Yeah.
I was raised in fight or flight constantly, like straight survival mode constantly for all the things. And I didn't ever really feel like my life was in danger. I knew who was going to be there when I woke up in the morning. It was going to be my mom. She's a fantastic mom. I knew she was going to be there. But what was she going to be like? What was her state going to be like? Because she was scared. And I hate saying that in kids.
Yeah, it's awful because you can just see it in their face, man.
You can see it,
yeah, especially when you talk to them. Like whenever time we see kids in public, she usually tries to grab them in a good way.
I'm a baby snatcher.
She is a baby snatcher.
I'm a baby snatcher.
She's like, let me get that baby.
Yeah.
So she'll pick up the baby, or like I'll start talking to him, or whatever, and you can just see certain kids. I've noticed it with maybe looking for like a dad figure. Just because I am a dad figure,
yeah.
So like I kind of notice a little bit more. But man, certain kids will just run up and they're just like a dry sponge, just needing someone to like look up to and pour into them. They're like, oh man, this dude's gonna talk to me. He seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like he's like giving me attention. It's crazy. It seems like it's I don't want to say epidemic, but it seems like it's kind of like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see it with how kids interact with other kids, how they interact with adults. I mean, when Andre is out and about, he's polite and he's kind, and that's the main thing about Andre that I want him to know above all else is, you know, to show kindness and to have kindness in his heart, and you know, to treat people well. And you can see that, and especially after having Andre, which Andre was like the most perfect baby from the get-go. So I don't think I had to do a lot, or I don't feel like he probably would have turned into an amazing kid. Maybe I'm a little biased, but he's got a kind heart in general.
Yeah, one thing, you know, as a parent, like I put speaking of intention, I put a lot of thought and intention. I was like, okay, what do I want to focus on and teach this dude?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, for me, I would say the main thing was to be kind to other people.
Yes.
And to look at the world as not danger. Well, you know what I mean? Like, is look at when they sees people, it's like, oh, remember he used to be like, look at all these people I can be friends with. Like, that's what he used to say when he was a little kid. So, it's kind of weird now. Like, some kids now, I don't know what age group it is. Like they won't look me in the face like when they're talking to me. Like they can't speak. It's very weird. Like if they don't have a phone screen in between, like it's very, very weird.
They can't have a conversation with you. It's odd.
Yeah, it's super weird. You know,
very odd.
Fun, like not fun fact, like just like, you know, kind of a side note, if you fast forward a little bit, like we have a small business, right? So we hire people, hiring and firing.
Oh man.
So like, you know, so we're
we don't do a lot of firing.
That's true. I just wanted to say that, right? You fired.
No.
But when people come in, like one of the hardest things to find, we have an awesome team now. So if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah, for real.
But one of the hardest things to find is someone who will actually talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You got a heavy breath. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let that sink in. So like, you know, you think like you got a kid that's raised in like a machine gun alley of crap getting thrown at them, or just neglect, or just like randomness, like who knows what's going on.
Right.
And they don't learn how to be kind. They don't learn how to speak to other people. And then we'll just use my son. He's 6 years old. Then that 6-year-old becomes a 12-year-old. And then it just kind of spirals, and that 12-year-old can become like, I don't know, whoever we hire, like a 25-year-old or 24-year-old or 30-year-old into the office. And they walk in, and we can't even have a conversation with them. So it's just like, man, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're going to do in life, but you got to learn how to look. You got to learn how to communicate.
Right. Andre has his typical, like, I'm a 6-year-old. I'm going to be shy the first time I talk to you. But after that, he's like, hey, do you want to see my Pokemon cards? Let me tell you all about these things.
Yeah, I got nothing on Pokemon.
But he's kind to everybody. He's kind to everybody no matter what. I think, honestly, he was probably born like that.
Yeah, well, you know. But having attention is important.
I know. I'm just hyping up my kid because he is the jam.
Yeah. You know, but like, you know, it was important for me. Like, it took me a while to craft the sentence. I'm going to keep that sentence to myself because it's for me. But I didn't just like do it willy-nilly. I put a lot of thought. I put a lot of thought in, like, what do I actually want the outcome to be of my son and myself's relationship in the future? That's what I thought about a lot of time. And in that scenario, like, I don't want to be his best friend. Like, I don't, you know, that's not what I mean. Right. I'm not looking to make him happy and please him, but I do want us to have a good relationship that's the end goal. But like, interwoven inside of that is like, what kind of a human being is he going to be through there? So it's like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to be his best friend. I'm not just buying him like Pokemon cards or whatever all day and like letting him be a crazy whatever. You know what I mean? I want him to be an outstanding human being, and I want us to kind of like, you know, to enjoy each other as we go through it, and like, you know, for him to look up to me. And, you know, it was crazy. I do want him to look up to me. It's kind of weird. I've never said that out loud before. So it's kind of off. It's a little off-putting for the way I normally think, but I do want
Well, yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, I want that more, a lot. Like, it's something that's really important. I want him to be proud of me. I don't know if that makes sense. Usually you want, I mean, I'm super proud of my son, but like, you know, that's a pretty common thing to say, but like, I really, really want him to be proud of me. And then it kind of in that, the intention or that sentence, it's actually like 3 sentences really. One of them's a run-on sentence. You would not be happy with the grammar, but like when I was forming that was kind of what was going through my head. It was like, I want him to be proud of me. I've never said it this way. I want him to be proud of me, and I want to be proud of him at the end. If that makes sense. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I
feel like you'll always be proud of him though.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, he could do something crazy.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
People, you know, bad people go to prison and I'm sure their parents aren't super proud.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I love him, but.
So I have a personal question.
But he's a little rapey. Not my son. Oh my God. Just like someone else's son that's rapey. Like, I'm sure they love him, but they're probably not happy.
Next podcast, we're going to interview serial killers' mothers.
Yeah. When did you notice that your kid was a little bit rapey?
When did you stop being proud of him?
It was like the 7th murder. He could have done better. He could have done better on the 7th one. You got a question for me? What's up?
I do have a question for you. How hard was it to formulate that question, not having necessarily a father yourself?
Oh, I remember my story.
Hold
on. Let me tell it before I'll forget it. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So earlier, I don't remember.
Sorry, my headphones. I have a little head. All right.
You got a baby head.
I do. Go ahead.
I love your baby head.
Go ahead.
But, oh, man, I forgot the story again.
Oh, how hard? Yeah. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. So it is kind of going full circle on something that we were talking about earlier, like as far as like role models, we're talking about that. So what I did, and I found this is actually a common thing, and it's very healthy and then becomes very unhealthy. Okay. I read this about people, and those people are me. Okay. Yeah. So like sometimes when you don't have role models to look up to, like my mom and my dad were not people that I wanted to emulate, they became an anti-role model.
Okay, things you don't want to be.
Yes, so I saw them. So you know how you say every experience is good. Like if you go somewhere, now you know what you don't want to do, or now you know how not to do it or something like that. So I looked at them and I was like, I do not want to be like my dad. I don't want to be anything like my mother. So I will be the exact opposite of whatever they are. So whatever I am now is me trying to be the opposite of them. And it served me well.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it served me well in the fact that like I didn't become like a dumpster fire and a hideous person. Right. You know what I mean? So like it did serve you well, yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I could have copied them. So I didn't do that. So that's what I was talking about earlier. We're talking about role modeling and stuff. Like your parents are supposed to be your role models. In the story I don't think I've ever told you is that right there.
Wow.
See, new story. You didn't think you can get a new story.
I knew that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I told you that.
I mean, why do you think you moved out of Jonesboro?
Well, that's true.
You wanted to get as far away from that side of you as possible.
That's true. But I don't think I ever told you that there's like I did the opposite. I used to think,
I feel like that's obvious.
All right. Well, never mind.
But but I love your story.
Yeah, I get it.
I love your story.
I got a bunch of more stories.
I know you
like
do.
Every time they would do something, I'd be like, okay, this is what my mom would do. I'm going to do the opposite. Then I have to figure it out. Yeah. So that's when I'd be like, okay, what is the opposite of mom.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. That's it. Okay, sorry. So I was reading people, psychologists probably, science. I was reading science. And they said that that is very, very common that kids do that, but it becomes pathological in the future if you don't break it, because then it's never positive to base your life off of something negative.
Okay.
That's not exactly how they worded it, but I think it makes more sense.
So where do you think you are in that? Do you feel like you're not doing that anymore? Do you feel like you're still doing that?
No, well, not on purpose. I don't do it. Yeah, I broke that pattern before I read that. But when I read that, I was like, ooh, wait, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now I don't actually remember the last time it was crossed my mind. Like, what would my dad do? What would my mom do? Like, I used to literally think that and then do the opposite. So I had something like an imaginary opposite parent that I would emulate, right? It didn't exist. But now I don't think about that anymore.
Oh, man.
It's probably been a solid 10 years since I've thought about that.
I have been so confused about my childhood for so long.
You got a bunch of good...
I had a good role model, but then I didn't at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't emulate them, nor do I do the opposite of what they do. I just kind of had to figure out along the way which direction to go in. And I've done that since I became an adult, which, it's been a while, but still.
Yeah, give me Grandma BG. That's your mom.
That's my mom.
She's a lovely human being.
Oh, my gosh, she's so nice.
Let me hear one unusual Grandma BG story.
We're going to do Grandma BG stories?
Just one. It could be whatever one you want.
All right, you give me a year in her life, and I'll tell you a story about her in that year.
When you were 9 years old.
When I was 9 years old. Oh, man. Okay, when I was...
9 to 12.
9 to 12 years old?
Yeah, making it easier on you.
All right, 12 years old.
12.
12 years old.
Story.
My mom has this...
Grandma BG.
My mom has a tradition. She has a tradition. I've told you this story before. All right.
You've told me all your stories before.
Okay. My mom has a tradition where if you reach a milestone in your life, she takes you out to McDonald's.
You have told me this story before.
I have told you this story
going.
before. Okay, so for my brothers, it was different things. When they got their first pube, McDonald's.
Yep, that's the story you told me.
We lived in a fairly healthy house because of my stepdad. My stepdad was a very, very healthy man. Go him. And he taught me basically all the base of my nutrition that I understand now. But
let's recap that.
Let's recap this. Hold on.
This milestone for your brother was what?
When he got his first
pubic hair.
Yes. Okay. Wait. Side story.
I didn't think we were going to say pubic hair today.
Oh, we did though.
We did.
Side story.
High five.
My stepdad was very big on eating healthy. He didn't allow cookies or anything inside the house. So my mom would come get me when I was sleeping, and we would go to the garage and we would eat snacks in her car in the
Wasn't
garage.
It Oreos?
Yes, it was Oreos.
It was Oreos.
Quite often. Okay, so anyways, got his first pube and got McDonald's. My other brother,
pubic hair.
When he got his first pubic hair as well, he got McDonald's. When he lost his virginity, he got it again. This is my oldest brother. Hey, Pat. Okay, so when I started...
So just think about that. That's a family conversation that happened.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
yes.
Just use your imagination.
Yeah.
So just walk me through, describe how this conversation went.
What?
You guys are sitting around the
when
kitchen
Pat
table.
lost his virginity?
Or the pubic hair.
I know the exact conversation.
Okay, hit me with it.
All right, so every time we had a serious conversation, we went to the garage.
Okay.
That's how my mom knew we were about to have a serious conversation, because we'd be like, hey, let's go to the garage.
Who took who to the garage?
Whoever needed to have the conversation with the other person. Usually it was the kid to the mom.
Okay.
My brother takes my mom out to the garage, and he says, I think I lost my virginity. And she said, what do you mean
I'm not sure.
He said...
But it was awesome.
Yes. He's like, I only put it in a little bit. Does it count?
You haven't told me that part of the story.
She said it counts.
Okay.
Yeah. He still to this day doesn't think it counts. He thinks that the next girl he slept with is actually who he lost his virginity with, but it wasn't.
I don't know. Is there
if it's just the tip, it's gone. Man. It's gone.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that.
We're talking about heterosex.
Okay.
Heterosex, penetration, lost your virginity.
All right. So we're going deep here.
Yeah,
we started off
that's
with...
what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Scott.
All right. Yeah.
Nailed it. We started off with talking about how to love them
We'll come
kids
back.
up.
We'll come back.
No, we're going this way.
No, we'll come back.
All right, we'll come back. So, just the tip, right?
Just tip. Okay, so...
And he didn't think that it was enough to count.
Correct.
So yeah, we got to define this. How do you know when it counts?
When it's inside.
Yeah, but
when it's inside.
That's when you
lose your virginity.
Is it? It's not when you finish the deed?
No.
It's not?
No, because what if you're so nervous you don't do it, but you guys ended up doing it for a little bit?
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, it's when it's inside. Just the tip totally counts.
Okay.
Counts.
Now we know.
All right.
Now you guys know.
Okay, so I started my period.
Yep.
I was like 12,
this is
13
a different
years
story.
old. No, same story. It's a McDonald's story.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it all didn't happen the same day.
No. My brothers are much older than me.
I know. I'm just trying to let the people know.
Okay, my brothers are much older than me. This happened years before. Okay.
All right, so we got 2 separate pubic hair celebrations.
Plus a loss of virginity.
Kinda. We have some skin-on-skin contact.
No, inside skin contact.
Eee. And then we have menstrual cycle.
When I started my period for the first time.
This is a question I asked you the other day. And I'm going to Google it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah, hold on. They don't know the question.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Right? There's other people listening
I'm
right
sorry.
now.
Sorry.
Now, I am a doctor, and I should know this, but I don't. I know what happens during the whole cycle.
Yeah.
With like all kinds of hormones.
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
I know all kinds of stuff. But if you guys know this, hit us up. Why is it called a period?
Why is it called a period?
It makes no sense.
Is it like the end of something?
Or the beginning of something.
Oh.
But period is usually at the end of a sentence. But it does start a new sentence. Or maybe we're getting too philosophical on the naming of the menstrual cycle.
Maybe they just didn't want it to be called a cycle.
Why not? It is cyclic, though.
I know.
It's like the perfect name.
I know, but let's talk about how our society is so weird. Oh, there's a topic.
Society is so weird.
Society is so weird when it comes to menstrual cycles.
It's true.
Yeah.
Why is it called a menstrual cycle? Why isn't it a womanstrin cycle?
That's a good question.
Dad joke.
Wow.
Is that a dad joke?
I feel like that is, yes.
That's a dad joke? Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that one.
Don't start the world on fire. We might start dropping the word men out of the menstrual and it'll just be stroll cycle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't do that.
Stroll cycle.
Stroll cycles.
Yeah, I don't want to mansplain to you what a menstrual cycle is. So
no.
I probably shouldn't do that.
No, don't do that.
Mansplain, that is a fun word.
It is.
Yeah, there's a new word that I learned the other day that apparently is like really pissing people off about how men sit. And they usually get their legs. Sorry, you guys can't see me. So you know how like guys sit, a lot of times their legs are wider. They're not like close
like
together.
Their legs are spread apart.
Yeah, so we take up a little bit more space. There's
Correct.
You might hopefully, I don't know how you feel about this. We've never talked about this hot topic.
I hate this.
It's a trigger.
Oh, it's such a trigger.
For some people, they can't handle this conversation.
All right, hit me with it.
We're about to go deep.
Give it to me.
Some people think it's because men want to dominate women and take up 4 more inches of space.
I feel like it's not, I don't know if it's necessarily because of that.
But that's what people are saying.
But women are definitely taught to be smaller.
Well, that may be true, but so I'm not, that's a different topic, but I'm fake. Well, I'm doing it right now and I'm extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, of course.
So like for me, I never thought about the fact that I'm trying to dominate you right now would be false. I am trying to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And then
but the thing is, for me, being comfortable is having my legs crossed because I was taught that for women, we close our legs.
That may be true.
Nobody ever looked at you one day and said, oh, somebody's going to think something of you. Close your legs.
It's true.
I got told that all the time.
I've never got told that.
All the time.
I've actually never thought about, no one ever talked to me about how I sit. So I would say this is the most natural way to sit because it's not as shaped by society as maybe how you are.
Right. Except for in the car.
But I'm
not shaped by society in the car because I'll sit in some
feet up out the window while I drive.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. You might disagree with me, but if you think that, we'll just say, I won't say men. I will say men, but me, I'm trying to dominate somebody subtly or subconsciously by taking up a little bit more space. That's kind of crazy.
I feel like that's totally true.
You think it's true?
Yeah. I don't feel like men are doing it as obvious as maybe that sentence sounded. Like they're not going out of their ways to do that. But subconsciously, yeah.
You know what? I don't want you to have those 4 inches.
You won't. Fine. Take it.
You know what's also funny? They did some, you could do, what's it called? Science. You could do science and you can check Q angles and like different hip shapes and stuff. And like men are shaped different than women.
Oh, so you're thinking it's because of the shape of the pelvis?
It's part of it, yeah. It's not an opinion.
I could see that.
No,
science is all social and physicals, biologies.
Yeah. So they have done. They have done
the science word I just said.
I did.
Biologies.
Biologies. Our biologies are different.
That's what I'm saying.
Word up to that. But yeah, there is some science that says like there's different, like, so I use the word Q angle. You probably never heard that word before. Well, I bet everyone, the collective you.
Okay.
Q angle is like the angle. I don't want to get into it. Should I get into it?
I mean, if you want.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, then don't.
All right, you just measure some angles on x-rays and stuff like that.
He still did it.
I can't help it. I said the word.
I know.
Said it.
It's okay. I like it when you doctor out.
Doctor
Yes. Get a little nerdy up in here.
I think I'm done with Q angles.
Okay.
But anyways, I don't know how we got to like it's called, man-splaining, man-spreading. That's what they call it now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's stupid. So you might disagree with me.
No.
You and anyone, but that's fine. But I can't speak for the entire populace of men, but I definitely don't want to take over your life with spreading my legs a little bit more.
No, you don't do that.
I know, but it's just more comfortable.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, you can get comfortable.
I mean, this is comfortable for me.
Okay, good.
All right.
I'm glad we're there.
Yeah. If I could be sitting cross-legged or something, that'd be nice. But
yeah, for
these
sure.
Chairs are.
Yeah. Crisscross applesauce is the way to go.
It is the way to go. Okay. Let's go back to our initial conversation.
Pubic hairs.
No.
Pubic hairs. You didn't finish the story.
We got sidetracked.
Yeah, but
you don't deserve to hear it anymore.
Why? Because
you
man-spreading?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get together.
You man-spread your Q angles.
I did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hit me with the story. Pubic hair.
Christopher.
A little bit of sex and then menstrual cycle. But we'd actually get to the story. We just told the events that happened.
I mean, I tried. That was basically the end of it. But essentially, we went to McDonald's because I started my period. Right.
Yeah, you get rewarded with French fries.
I did get rewarded with French fries. I did not believe that I was on my period at first. That's a whole other story.
Okay.
But after, when we went home, my mom was just happening. It was actually kind of weird. My mom happened to check me out early that day. Like it was a sort of pre-planned thing for her to check me out. And I started my period.
But that
so it was kind of that wasn't the plan. Like she wasn't going to check me out because I had my period. I just happened to get my period on the day that she checked me out early. So we got McDonald's.
Did you get French fries?
I'm pretty sure I got French fries.
There's 14 ingredients in McDonald's French fries.
Is there really?
Yeah.
14?
Yeah, you say that like I've told you that before.
No, I don't know.
Oh, I've never told you that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yay!
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, that's a real. It's either 14 or 17.
Okay.
I can't remember anymore, but it's a lot. Like so how many ingredients, not knowing that fact, if you're going to make McDonald's French fries, how many ingredients would you think there would be in there?
Okay, I know how to make French fries. I make them all the time.
Let's count them.
Okay, you need vegetable oil.
One.
You need a French fry.
You need a potato.
Okay.
2.
After you're done, you need salt. And mayonnaise to dip it in.
Mayonnaise.
That's it. But the mayonnaise is that's a sidebar because you add that in later. So 3.
3 ingredients should be.
3 ingredients.
Yeah, maybe some seasoning salt if you want to make them Cajun style. Cajun style.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, 3 to 4. 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 14 or 17.
That's crazy. What do they do? Just dump stuff in? It's like the power. It's like what is it? Powerpuff Girls.
Yep, and that's what you get.
Pouring in ingredients.
I don't remember
the fry.
I don't remember any of their names. Daisy, no.
No, it's different than that. It's like
Powerpuff Girls is the jam.
I forget what their names are.
But the French fry, I do too. If I remember, we'll just yell it out. Shouts out to Powerpuff Girls. But yeah, it's a bunch of preservatives.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's a bunch of words that start with X and Z and Y and stuff. I don't know what's in. I don't know what the words are, but it's kind of crazy. Another fun fact.
Okay.
Fun fact number 2 for today, or number 3. How many fun facts are we on?
I don't know. I haven't even finished my period story.
We'll circle back to that.
Okay.
We'll circle back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can buy McDonald's French fries.
Yeah.
And not eat them, which is what I would suggest. But if you buy them and like leave them out for forever, they won't disintegrate.
Same with the burgers.
Yeah, the burgers too. Even the bread, it won't get moldy. It won't like get all gross and go away. It's crazy. Yeah. And bugs won't eat it either, which is even trippier, man. Now, if you put mayonnaise or ketchup, the ants will love that. But if you just put like the burger, the bread, and the French fries out, it's insane. It'll never go away.
That's crazy sauce.
So, anyways, 14 to 17 ingredients inside of your McDonald's, which is a sweet reward. For getting a pubic hair.
I didn't know it wasn't pubic hair. I got my period.
Well, just what your brothers got.
Oh, yeah.
And there was for some sex.
First time. I didn't get McDonald's for pubic hair or sex, so I kind of feel gypped out a little bit.
Well, shouts out to Grandma BG.
I know, right? Grandma BG's the bomb.com. Okay, so
That's true.
after we get back from McDonald's, she proceeds to call everybody in my family, which is not very much. Like, we don't have very many people in my family anyways, but she called every single man and woman in my family and told them that I had started my period, and she cried because I was a woman. So that's my mom.
Shouts out to Grandma BG. That's an awesome story.
We should do that.
What?
Just insert Grandma BG stories.
Done.
She's got some funny things.
Okay, that's gonna be a weekly segment coming right at you.
Yes, there we go.
But oh man, I forgot what I was saying again.
I'm sorry. You said shout out to Grandma BG.
I just want to say shouts out to Grandma BG.
Yeah, she's a bomb.com. All right, so let's go back to our initial subject.
Man-spreading.
No.
Not man-spreading?
No.
Okay.
All right.
What are we talking about?
Intention versus survival.
When raised, it's probably, it's a good idea to think about that in like the grandiose scheme of life, I guess.
Yeah.
But when you, when you said that about like how you were raised and like how I was raised and like how we try to do different, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of crazy because I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like when you're in like survival mode, you're literally just trying to like punch the next bear in the face. Like, whatever comes up on you, you don't have any like forethought and planning. And then you teach your kid everything. You teach him all the base of how they problem solve and how they think through things, how they treat other people, how they treat themselves, how they talk to themselves. Yeah. If you don't even teach it to them, like I try, like we do a good job of like actually trying to sit Andre down and teach him, like talk
to him, like an adult. Well, not like crazy, but
like super intentional, right? Like super duper intentional. But like even if like our parents, right, or that we're talking about that didn't necessarily have the luxury, because it's not that my mom didn't want to do that. She just didn't have the luxury of doing that. Yeah, and it's hard.
Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah, and if you don't have, and if that person, like if your parents or my parents doesn't have a good role model to do that from, then it's also where are they supposed to learn it from? So
did your parents have a good role model? I feel like your mom's parents were pretty cool, right?
My mom's parents were the jam.
Yeah, so they raised your mom.
Yeah. She didn't. Yeah, they're awesome.
Right?
They raised me. Like,
so what the freak happened?
I don't know, man. Like some people just suck.
Man. I know.
Whenever I tell people my mom sucks, people look at me like,
yeah,
like this, like the most taboo thing to say. But I was like, why? I mean, like some bad. I'm like, there's bad people in the world. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There's one of them.
They have kids.
Yes, they have children.
Yeah.
So I think one of the hardest thing about raising my kid off of intention versus survival is not passing down the fears that I have. Because like raising my kid off of intentions is based off of the fear that I had to get over when I was a kid.
Yeah, I learned a new word the other day. We were talking about it in the car in one of our driving conversations.
Okay.
Social
road talk.
Yeah, road talk. Social contagion.
Okay.
Remember we were talking about that the other day? Actually, yesterday, I think. But so it's something that it's like a sickness, like an infectious disease that can be passed socially.
Yeah.
I've never heard of things called that. I've heard you hear generational curses and role models and all these words that we're using. But when I heard social contagion, I was like, yep, I can see that happening.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see if I were to be too intense, which sometimes I am too intense on these things and I have to catch myself. But I have to make sure that I'm not being too intense on the intention.
If I had 3 words to describe you, intense would be 2 of the 3.
No. Are you serious?
It'd be 1 of the 3.
Really?
Yeah, intense is good though.
You think so?
I love your fire.
I have to make sure that doesn't pass on, that he gets just the intention and he doesn't get the fear and the abandonment that fuels my intention.
For sure. And then, kind of speaking of like what we're talking about for the youngsters now, and then when we were youngsters and our parents were there, like not being intentional with what you want to have happen, you're by default doing the opposite and being unintentional. Mm-hmm. So when you're not leading children or leading your family, because they really need that, but if you're not leading them in their thought processes, they're still watching you and they're modeling you.
Right.
So like when like our parents were, I'll say my parents, I'll speak to my parents. When my parents were being insane and neglectful, they didn't teach me anything, but it wasn't just that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just lacking someone to model or to learn from, right? I wasn't just lacking a person. I also had, that was true, but I also saw what they did. And then by just the way that we're made, you always kind of copy and model, actually reproduce what your parents do. So it's kind of like a double negative. It's probably more than a double negative. There's probably a times in there. It's probably like a bad times and other times. Right. It's kind of exponential. But so like I didn't get stuff that I needed, and then I saw how to do bad things, right. Like how to be a bad parent. Right. I was very scared of that.
It also makes you more comfortable in it. So if somebody were to act poorly towards you, you're already kind of comfortable with it, and you'll allow it to happen longer rather than setting a boundary for yourself and making sure you can get out of that situation or that relationship. And I definitely feel like it made me more comfortable with people who aren't emotionally aware of themselves. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm used to that. But then all they do is insert that negativity into my life instead.
Does that bring you back to the past whenever? Is it comfortable or uncomfortable?
It's uncomfortable now, but it used to be comfortable in the past. Yeah. Like I used to like to hang out with people who didn't have an emotional awareness or an emotional intelligence. Yeah. And I used to become comfortable with people who liked to lie or steal or any those kinds of things. Now I'm around those people, and when I think about that, I'm like, oh, I could never bring Andre around these people. Yeah. And that makes me uncomfortable now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I would call that growth.
Growth. That's a good thing. I've had a little surge of growth in the last 6 months.
High five.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, yes.
I was about to insert a "that's what she said" joke.
Oh my God.
Or he said.
That
Who said
she
it?
Said.
She said it.
I mean, I feel like both of them could say it.
Somebody said it.
They all said it.
Somebody said that. You asked me a question earlier, and then we started talking about something. It was either...
Should I ask it again?
No, do you remember the question?
Is it about your dad?
No.
Oh.
You didn't ask me about my dad.
Yes, I did.
What'd you ask me?
I said, how hard was it to formulate your intentions with Andre when you didn't have a father necessarily?
Aha, that is what I was going to say. Yeah. So, I didn't really... Yeah, okay, well, you're always right. Everyone knows you're always right.
That's not true. Just kidding.
It is. It's so true. Was it hard? No. Because of my age that I had, Andre, I was 30. So
okay, yeah.
So I had a lot of time
to think about it.
Well, I did think about it a lot, actually. It's kind of weird. You know me, I don't resonate with really any identity except for being a dad. Like I don't really think of myself as too many other things.
Right, too many roles, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean that it could sound negative. Like, oh, I mean, I get it. I do other stuff, but like the one, like the thing that I'm like, what are you? I'm like, I'm a father. Like that's the boom. That's my shit. So was it hard? No, but if I did it, if I would have done that when I was 20 or 21, it would have been I wouldn't have done it. First of all, I wouldn't even have thought about it. So yeah, it would have been impossible to do it when I was 20 or 21. But when I did it, no, and I was already in like this super growth mode and like not changing my life.
No, you were.
Yeah, but
I mean, yeah.
But I mean, like what I mean by that, I wasn't bad. I've always been pretty jamming. Like I graduated from high school, went straight to college, got my doctorate like right after that. So like I was going this like path of like education and learning and try to like become somebody better than I thought
externally.
Yeah, for sure.
No, you did like a major push for an internal change. I mean, you've always really been into that for sure, but all those kinds of things were the external things. Those are the things that you could see of yourself, but in that time period when you started doing that, you were changing the things inside your mind.
It's true because one thing I know she knows this, and it's kind of rubbed off on people that hang out with me long enough. I love working on myself. Every day because it has a compound effect. It's not like a bank account. It's not like 1 + 1 = 2. Like you keep pouring and investing into yourself, and it explodes with like a really high interest rate. And you can become a different person if you do that over time. So long-winded answer. We should have that as a sound effect. Dr. Odom's long-winded answer. He's on a tangent. But yeah, so I was already doing things. I had lots of mentors in my life, probably 3 or 4 at a time. Between that age, sorry. And they were all advising me. They're the ones that told me. So it wasn't, another thing I put myself in groups of people that were different leagues and stratospheres away from me. And they were all in places that I wanted to be. So they would speak to me in a way and tell me things to do and teach me things. And the people that I had in I call it strong room, the people that were in my room that were uplifting and like made me better, I listen to them. That's one thing that I will do. If I put you in a strong room and you give me some advice, I will do it like an obedient dog.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a good way. I mean that in a very good way. So like Dr. Schiffman, if you're listening, I love you, man. Dr. Schiffman was a fantastic human being, and it really, really has a big role in shaping the kindness inside of me over time. Yeah, really, really big. I love Dr. Schiffman. And he was the person that told me to be intentional with everything in my life that matters. That's what he told me. And then he just said, all right, goodbye. Like hung up the phone or something.
Whoa.
Yeah, right? Like it was like a movie. I was like, word, are you just going to leave me with that? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? So I had to do some Googling and like, how do you become intentional? What does that word mean? So then I did all that. And then, you have to put some effort to express intention. So I decided to wake up and to formulate my intentions with every single person that mattered. And then, people and things and ideas and stuff like that. And I had a whole notebook with like different paragraphs and sections in it. They're all good. Like I enjoy doing them all, and they all help me become better than myself. And like, each time I became better than myself, my betterness rose, and I kind of grew, through there and changing. But the one that stuck with me was the one with Andre, is the 3 sentences. I read it every day. And then that's the one that I just cared about the most. I just stared at it and I was like, what do I need to do to make that happen? And I would read it right when I woke up. And they say, another fun fact, number 7. I don't know how many fun facts we got.
Right.
That if you do that right when you wake up, your brain, I don't remember brain waves. There's a lot of stuff I don't remember, but there's a gamma or alpha. I don't remember which one. But there's a certain set of like your brain's in a certain space where it's very, very malleable, receptive. Whatever the word is when people are easily hypnotized.
Oh.
I can't remember what that word's called. I can't remember, but your brain's in that state. So if you do these things when you're in that state of mind, like it's got a lot of sticking power to it.
Science.
You know what? Speaking of hypnotized? Hypnosis. I don't think I could be hypnotized. I've never done it.
So?
I don't, I've never.
Mom's been, Grandma Beachy's been hypnotized.
Really?
Yes.
Shouts out to Grandma BG. Can you tell that story?
I don't remember it she was trying to stop smoking cigarettes.
So you're just going to hit us with a Grandma BG's been hypnotized.
Look, I will record it. I recorded my mom talk about her entire life story, BT Dubs. Watch out for that book one day because it's about to drop hot. But
what?
I am recording my mom. So when I get to that part in her life, I'm currently at like age 10. When I get to that part in her life, I will drop down those stats.
All right, cool.
You'll hear them all.
All right, shouts out to Grandma BG. I need those stats on hypnotizing.
That's what I'm talking about.
What's it called when you're able to be hypnotized? You're easily something.
I have no idea.
Persuaded? I can't remember. It's not the right word.
I have no idea.
Anyways.
No idea.
There's a word for that.
Okay.
It's in the science book. I don't know where my science book is, so.
Osteo science book.
Yeah, but it's in science.
It didn't work.
But so formulating that question, or the intention, wasn't hard because I was already in like this super internal growth change mode where I was doing things like that. Yeah. And I was like around 30. I think it was 30 on the dot. So I was in a good spot in life. I had got done with like all the schools, like all the 9 years of college. So I had that, a little bit of life experience. And so it was a little bit better. And I had someone tell me what to do. So that made it easier. I know I've mentioned this. If anyone's ever like listen to me for 5 seconds, that I love time machines. I don't know if I've ever worded that. Did you know I love time machines?
I mean, I don't think you've ever said it like that before.
Also, fun fact: Back to the Futures 1 through 3 are my all-time favorite movies.
Whoa!
Have you ever seen Back to the Future? Nope.
I have not.
Lame.
I know. I'm not like a movie watcher. I never get the references.
What's the opposite of a high five?
A low five.
It'd be a low five. Too slow. You missed it. That's only because you haven't seen Back to the Futures 1, 2, and 3. Oh my god! Especially 1 and 2. I think 1 is like the best movies ever made. Back to the subject. What was the subject? Time machines. Time machines. I love time machines. Okay, hit me with it. Oh yeah, so if you get a mentor, or you get someone who's done what you want to do. Okay. And they spent like 20 years trying to figure it out. Right. Just do what they did. Just do it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Yeah, just do it. Yeah. So I just did it. Whatever. I was like, this guy. The one thing I loved about him more than anything is how he spoke to people.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Like the level of kindness that he had. And it wasn't fake. It was like deep down in his soul.
Right.
It was like the most like sincere, kind man I've ever met. Mm-hmm. And so was his wife. Mrs. Schiffman was, if you're listening, shouts out to Mrs. Schiffman. I love you too. You're so nice. She was like the nicest lady ever, man. Right. She is the nicest lady ever. Both of them are fantastic human beings. And I saw them. You know, I talked to Dr. Schiffman because he was like a mentor of mine and helping me through professional and life things. And then I got to hang out with them both, and I was like, I want that. What is that?
Right.
I want that. Like, you're really nice and kind. You're really nice and kind.
So,
and you guys make each other laugh. And I was like, and they're just so kind with each other. And then I was like, I'm going to listen to everything this guy says because I want that. And then so when he told me that, I was like, okay. And I just did it. And anyways, so that's how I did that. Time machines.
So I'm sure I've told you, well, what made me want to be a yoga teacher in the first place?
Words.
All right, you tell it. I mean, if you think you know the words.
I don't know the words. No.
But you know it was words.
It was words. Sorry, the answer to the question. She asked me a question.
It was words. You're right. It was words. I was like going to some yoga classes, and after one of the yoga classes, there had been like a couple of the yoga teachers in the class, like they were taking the class, and after they were standing with the yoga teacher, and I was getting my stuff, and I heard them all talking to each other, all the yoga teachers talking to each other. And I think I probably was just around a really good group of yoga teachers. Shout out to Peach because she's been my mentor for years. But it was her.
Shouts out to Peach.
Shouts. It was her and some other people I am taking a class in Auburn, Alabama. It's now owned by another teacher named Nicole. She's also really fire. But they were all like talking to each other, and it was they paused for each other. I think that was the thing that I liked the most. That's what caught my attention at first, is they paused for each other.
Like they gave each other space to talk or space to think after they talked?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both. And they were super kind. They were always so open to each other's ideas, and they paused for each other. And I thought, man, I want to learn how to talk like that. So when I went to yoga school, I didn't necessarily go to yoga school to learn how to do the yoga. I went to yoga school because I wanted to learn how to talk like that.
I get it. Especially when it's very compassionate speak.
It is.
And if you're not used to that, you're like, word?
Exactly.
People talk to each other like that?
And I think saving space for somebody is the most amazing thing possible.
True. You know, it's something that, you know what we don't do?
What?
We try to out-talk each other sometimes.
Not all the time.
Sometimes.
Maybe when we're arguing.
We never argue. We argue a lot.
There we go.
That's not true.
Not a lot. Not a lot.
It depends on how you define argue.
No, I feel like we have constructive conversations
frequently,
but we don't like full up. You know, the only time that we really, really argue.
I don't.
Is in my car.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I don't. Yeah, it's true.
Actually, that's a lie too. That's totally a lie. The only time that we really, really argue is in the x-ray room. And the car talks, the road talks that we have are usually the only times that you ever turn to me and say, I feel comfortable in this conversation right now. Because you always feel like when I'm in the car, I have no walls up.
It's true. Shouts out to the car.
Shout out to car.
Shouts out to car conversations. You guys got to get up on that.
We call one car the trash can.
Trash can.
And then the other one's the spaceship.
Spaceship.
So shout out to the trash can and the spaceship.
Yeah, mad love for those.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like giving space. Like
giving space.
Giving space. You know, I never thought of that before. So it is cool when you're having a conversation and you can say something. It depends on how topical it is. Like if it's super topical, you don't have to like pause for 15 seconds to talk about like the last episode you watched of The Office. Although that is pretty serious.
You would.
Yeah, I do.
You would totally take that time to talk about The Office.
No, I'll take the time. I'm talking about the pausing. Like, so if it's a very topical conversation, but when you start getting down to things that are sticky, it could be sticky as in far as like gray areas of what's right and wrong, or it could be sticky with emotion. And I think in most people's interactions, it's always emotion that overrides anything, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I always do this in my head. Like if I'm talking to someone, if I'm talking to you or just anybody, and like it gets all like kind of like heated or emotions are kind of getting in the way, I try to like imagine like I can't think of like George Lucas. I can't think of a director like a director, right? Steven Spielberg, right? Yeah. Like a director is like filming this movie, and then I try to take. This might sound kind of weird, but I try to take myself out and then look at whoever I'm talking. Like say it was me and you talking. And then see what's going on. I'm like, okay, this person is saying these words, but there's like 17 layers of bat crap that's actually doing it.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of calm and patient, because I try to like look at it and I'm like, okay, I see words.
Right.
But I'm like, I see the 4 months prior to the words that generated the heat or the coldness or the sadness it can be happy too, like all that emotion behind it. It makes it rich with context.
Right.
I think
that was a good sentence.
You like that? Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
I made that up.
That was a good sentence.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So,
okay. Wait. I taught Andre this.
But I was in a tangent.
I know you were. That's why I'm going to stop you.
Tangent buster.
So I taught Andre this.
Real quick, I'm going to say something. I'm going to filibuster this podcast.
No, don't be Leslie. No, don't filibuster her.
Real quick though, why is a filibuster a thing? Like, why can you go in front of Congress or the House of Congress? I know that's not real. House of Representatives. I know that.
Okay, so it's not that filibuster is a thing. It's something that happened that they had to name. So it's just like a loophole in the government. If you're in a conference or a talk or something and you have to save space for the person while they're talking, you can't cut in.
Yeah, but like when they filibuster, they just talk about like movies and stuff.
They have to, because what are you going to talk about for the entire 12 hours that something has to be in session for?
No, I get it, but you should be able to go, okay, this has nothing to do with what you're just, okay.
Nope.
I don't know.
The right of the people.
No, I get it.
Okay, wait. Okay, so I did teach this thing to Andre about recognizing the space that somebody is in and all the things that came before that led them to be, to have the emotions that they have right then. That when you look at somebody, you're like, oh, okay, I can see this, and this, right?
Which is pretty dope because he's 6 right now.
Okay, so this is how I taught him. I told him, we're driving in the car and he was having some kind of conversation with me. We talk a lot about, for some reason, Andre and we talk a lot about how people treat other people while we're in the car, mainly because of the Chick-fil-A story, but we'll come back to the Chick-fil-A story later.
You have a lot of good combos in the car.
I do have a lot of good combos, especially with you guys in the car. Okay, so I explained it to Andre like this. He was asking me something about why somebody could be mean to somebody else or do something to somebody else and that kind of stuff, okay? And I told him, look, you see this truck in front of us? Let's say this truck in front of us is going really, really slow. They're like, yes. He's like, okay, yeah. I'm like, let's say I'm getting grumpy because this car is going really slow and I want them to go faster. And I'm just sitting in the car and I'm just getting so grumpy at this dude who's driving this big truck all in the way. And then the truck moves and I see that there was a little car in front of him who was slowing down his speed. So I was like, you never know what car is in front of the truck in front of you. So you just got to have to be like, oh, okay, something else is going on in that person's life.
That's a good metaphor. You never know what car is in front of the truck
in front of you. Yeah.
I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna start applying that.
Yeah, he totally understood it.
No, that makes sense. That's awesome.
And I'm driving down the street and I'm going to turn and somebody went doom right in front of me and I was like, whoa. And he was like, hey, Lulu, like, what if, that car has somewhere really important to go? And I was like, you know what? What if that car, like his wife is in the emergency room and he's like, doom, I'm going there, right? And I'm like, you're so right, buddy. He always turns my life lessons around on me.
Parenting tip number 1 of today. You never know what small car is in front of the big truck in front of you.
Yep, exactly. He totally understood it. It was
makes
genius.
Sense. No, like if you apply that, if you can apply that as a parent, as a mom, or as a dad, or teach that to a kid, or just at anywhere aspect of life, you never know what small car is in front of the big truck in front of you.
Yeah, you don't know why he's going slow. You don't know why he's going fast.
You never know.
Yeah, you don't know why he was texting and didn't go when the light was green.
Yeah, don't honk your horn.
Yeah.
What if he's got a really?
I found out my horn doesn't work today.
Today?
Yeah, I went to beep beep and nothing.
Were you in rage? Were you in a moment of rage?
I was in a moment of frustration because somebody was texting and they were swerving into my lane.
But you never know what small car is in front of their big truck.
It's so true. He could have been texting his sick mom.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we need to pause.
Okay, pause it.
I think we need to think about the small trucks that are in front of us.
Oh my God.
Small cars.
It's true. Small cars that are in front of the truck front of you.
All right, guys. We'll leave you with that.
Think about it.
Think about it.
Yeah, we'll be back.